Hello everyone, and welcome to Open Source Friday. How are you all? King of the internet, it is Friday somewhere. It is Friday right where I am. So yeah, that's just awesome because, it's Friday and I'm in Australia and I'm probably ahead of you in terms of the world internet time. So welcome in to all our viewers from America who is late Thursday night. Welcome in to all our viewers in Australia and New Zealand where it's Friday afternoon and it's almost time to end our week and start our weekend. And welcome in to all the Indians who are tuning in for Friday morning. I hope you're all well. How is everyone? I have a little bit of feedback from somewhere. We're going to figure out where that's coming from. Let me know how you all are, everyone. King of the engineers. I love the fact that you're always here first, King of the engineers. Okay, we look good on the audio. Thank you. Oh, my pleasure, King of the... Oh, from Brazil. Yeah, Brazil would be super late on Thursday night there in Brazil. Pug Deb, how are you going? Good to see you. Back here again. Oh, I know where that is coming from. Yeah, Lyras, if you can turn your volume on mute, as I mentioned, because we'll be...
Yeah.
We've got our guest waiting. I'm just asking him to put himself on mute so I don't get some feedback. I'm just going to mute him anyway. We've got MK Karen, how are you? Hello from India, from Colombia, Thursday nights in San Francisco. Amazing, Laka. We've got Loco, Karen, Pogdev, King of the Internet. Great to see so many of you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so lovely to have you all. I'm so excited. So we're starting a little late today. We've had a few tech issues with our guests. So unfortunately, we don't have a camera for you today. So our guests will be audio only. But that is okay. It's still going to be a fun day. So I'm quite excited. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome them in. We have Liyas from Hoppscotch. How are you going? Tuning in from India as well. It's a nice bright early morning on a Friday morning. How are you?
Yes, thank you, Michelle. It's actually great to be here, great to be on the part of the show. I'm doing great.
Should be able to get him back. We can't get him back. It's going to be a very short stream. Hello.
I hope you can hear me, right?
Everyone, MK Karen, or MV Karen, sorry, is in India. Can you send a smoke signal to him? Does that work? Does smoke signals work in this day and age? I'm not sure. Well, we've got like this UFO thingy for the Hoppscotch logo. So if we can get that back up, maybe we could UFO him in. Yeah, smoke signals work. Amazing.
Okay.
Hello.
Mish, can you hear me?
So you're there.
I can hear you. Am I audible?
It's gonna be fun. It'll be a nice, fun, short stream if this doesn't work. We haven't had any tech issues. Oh wait, you can hear him? Sweet.
Yeah, I can hear you. Am I audible?
Awesome. We can hear you fine. Amazing. So good. Brains, and smoking. Yes, we can hear him. Mosh. You can call me Mosh, it's fine. Oh, there he is. How are you this morning on a Friday morning in India, Lars?
Actually, it's kind of like refreshing for me, actually.
Oh, nice.
So basically, last night I worked for like 12 a.m. and I just woke up during the show. It's quite early for me, but yeah, it's quite enthralling and exciting, and it's actually good to be part of the show.
Amazing. We are so excited to have you here, and like that's by my calculation about 6 hours sleep for you. I think it's verging on 8:30, 9 o'clock in India. So we really appreciate you getting up super early and being here on the Open Source Friday stream with us and all the amazing viewers in here. So would you like to tell us a little bit about what Hoppscotch is, what it does, and then we might do a little bit of a walkthrough with the audience before we chat all about open source?
Yeah, sure, I would love to. So actually, 1 year ago, Hoppscotch started as a side project. It was a personal side project for me. And 1 year ago, I was a student doing my final year graduation in engineering. And just after my graduation, I joined in a startup near my locality. And that's exactly the first time I came up with API testing tools. And there were quite a lot of popular API testing tools such as Postman, Insomnia, and a lot of CLI tools as well. But being a front end engineer, most of the time I used to spend in code editor and the browser window, and all the existing platforms were separate apps. So I just had a thought of developing a platform in which I could test my APIs from the browser window itself. And that thought is the reason why Hoppscotch was born. And fast forward to 1 year, we have a lot of users from around the world, and it's going great. And also, just like any other my projects, I also wanted to open source Hoppscotch as well. And over the past few months, few years, we have crossed around 100 plus contributors from around the world. It's going great. It's getting a lot of traction. That's that's how Hopscotch was born. Yeah.
Amazing. So we're going to jump in and have a quick look at Hoppscotch. Here's your website here, which I've obviously been able to find. You can find it on hoppscotch.io, and it's really cool. So there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff here. Now, if I was a developer working mainly, as you said, in a code editor in a browser, if I wanted to go and use Hoppscotch, where would I start as a first-time user to Hoppscotch? Where would I start?
Okay. So Hopscotch is the most simple and minimal API testing platform out there. So
I like simple. Simple is good.
yeah, I love minimalism. So basically, for testing a particular set of APIs, you just have to go to hopscotch.io, and we intentionally did few things which allows user to get to know about the platform. We don't have a landing page. You get straight into the tool. So after landing to the landing page, you from the user side you only need two inputs. One is the request method that we are going to test. We support a lot of methods such as get, post, patch, delete, connect, a lot of them. So you just select the request method from the drop down, which is from the request section. That's the one input. And you only need another input, which is the endpoint, the target endpoint of the API. You just type in or paste the endpoint into the URL input, and you just click send. Within 1 or 2 seconds, it's as fast as we could, you get the response under the request section. So basically that's the only thing that you need to spin up a API testing
It's
platform
pretty
on the go.
easy and simple. Like, as you said, you don't have a landing page. You just go straight in, and it's just like chuck in your method, throw in a URL, and click send. Like, it's pretty good. Well, we've got actually a couple of questions from the chat coming through already. Please, chat, send through your questions. I love asking the questions that you're here for. It gives you, a really good sense of being part of the community and makes you feel. I feel like we like to reward people for showing up to live streams. Lots of people come watch these afterwards. We want to reward people for showing up to live stream. So we've got Chubby Freak in the chat. He's asking about why did you change the name from Postman to Hoppscotch?
Got it. So basically, 1 year ago, I started the project with the name called Posthuman, and it's just that name actually came out from the frustration that I personally had with the tool Postman, because at those times I had a PC which was around 10 years old, and I downloaded the Postman tool. I opened it and it literally crashed my system. So uh, that's how the post-human name came up. And after 1 year, our development team, we really discussed about rebranding to another name, and like avoid any other future obligations from the Postman company. And we really love what Postman guys are doing because they have built a very good software. But yeah, along with that, we really want to make something for the open source community. And the reason for the name change is basically we really wanted to rebrand the uh, project to another name and avoid any future maybe copyright infringement from them. So yeah, that was the basic reason for the renaming.
Nice, and I did just find your post on Dev2 from 5th of November 2019, so I've added that into the chat as well. Cherry Freak loves that answer, but there's a whole lot of information in that Dev2 post, which, yours truly, Lewis, has written. Larry's, you've written that, so go have a look at it. There's a whole bunch of tweets there about a bit of the journey of Hoppscotch as well and how you launched it. Now, let's talk a little bit about Hoppscotch as an open source project. So if I jump into your GitHub repo and I have a look at Hoppscotch, I can see a few things as a contributor, right? I can see you've got 108 contributors, you've got let's see, 4 main languages, or says other, but 3 main languages, or 2 really, Vue, JS and JavaScript. Fun fact, I've been learning some Vue.js, so that's been really fun. But as a first time contributor to your project, what would you expect me to be doing as a first time contributor coming to Hoppscotch?
Got it. So Hoppscotch is a project which welcomes every kind of developers, uh, even not from the developers community as well.
I like
So
that.
most of the yeah, so most of the features built onto Hoppscotch were actually requested by the community and obviously made the community as well. So being the author or the maintainer of Hoppscotch, we really listen to what community has to say. And for a contributor, for a new contributor to Hopscotch, what we always say is that if you could come up with an idea or a feature that you would like to see implemented in Hopscotch, we will help you to work on the idea and take to the next level and implement it as a feature. So for a first comer, we always encourage them to have a talk with us. You can use either our Discord community. We have a public Telegram group. We make really use of GitHub issues as well. So first of all, we discuss about the idea, what should be the essential features. We don't want a bloatware. We don't want a lot of unessential features built onto Hopscotch. So the first thing we would do is discuss about the idea and find out the essential features, and we will help them personally to implement them. And for a starting point, we always have an issues page which is very active. You could just come up, go through there and see for any open issues or most favorably already put in pull requests and contribute to that. Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot going on in your issues tab. So I've got it open here, and there's 26 open issues, 401 closed, which means it's relatively active. I love your use of tags for your issues. So you've got like feature requests, you've got bug fixes, mirror tags. You've got good first issues, which is one that I was going to ask about, and you've also got Hacktoberfest. So let's start with good first issues. This is something we like to talk about on our stream. It's usually a really good way to get first time contributors involved. So let's have a chat about your good first issues, how you come up with what are good first issues, and some of the top tips for people coming to the project.
So basically, 1 year ago, after starting Hopscotch, we actually had one Hacktoberfest. We celebrated it as fun as we could, and after finding out how tax works, we added good first issue for to intend the newbies or beginners to contributing to open source projects. And we really filtered out the most simplest issues, or maybe like the maybe fixing a particular UI portion as well. So we really filtered out issues in which uh, a newbie can really contribute to. We often found that good first issues has very complexity levels in some other repository, so we didn't want that in our repository. So we really filtered the most uh, easily doable issues for Goodfest issue as well as Oktoberfest, and it's really going pretty well. So after 1 year, we have around less than 100 Goodfest issues, and it's almost half it has been solved by the community, not from the development team, and yeah, it's actually doing pretty great.
Yeah, and I've noticed you're obviously opted in for Hacktoberfest, which is fantastic. So anyone here in the chat that would like to contribute and make their contributions count towards Hacktoberfest are more than welcome to. Now, I've got a couple of things from the chat again. I love seeing the chat. So one of them is about a feature. So wanted to know if you can port it or let's have a look. One of the features you want is to be ported over to Hoppscotch is the ability to generate code to access an API endpoint as a feature in Postman. Now, how would you go about this firstly? Now, they're saying, first of all, that we're not sure if this feature already exists. So this is one thing that people find when they come to new projects for the first time is they have an idea and they're not sure if the feature already exists first. So if Chummy Freak had this idea, how would you suggest specifically going about this in terms of working out whether the feature exists and then maybe implementing it if it doesn't?
Got it. So whenever we get a feature request, we really discuss about the feasibility and the requirements of that particular feature request.
And you
we
discuss
really
that in issues or in Discord?
we basically use all of us. For example, if the user came up, firstly came up in GitHub issues, we continue the chat in there itself. Or if it came from the Discord servers, we continue the chat from on Discord. So we basically make use of all the communities. Yeah. So yeah, after a discussion and iteration over the particular feature request, we check the requirements, and if the team or and it's everything is working fine, being a core developer of Hoppscotch, me or either of my friends from the development team actually helps the particular person to come up with a MVP of the request, and we again keep iterating that particular request and find out an optimal solution. So basically, the contribution goes around that MVP, which is made by the development team as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually quite easy for a new beginner or a like a medium level developer to contribute to a particular feature, because the entire development team will be helping them to come up with an MVP or something like that. Yeah.
And do you think that's a good way to practice your coding skills or to learn skills in, well, mainly Vue.js and JavaScript, since that's what Hoppscotch is written in?
Actually, we talking about the stack, Hoppscotch is my first ever Vue.js project,
There you
and
go.
the reason why, yeah, so the reason why I choose Vue.js for Hoppscotch is just for learning the Vue.js platform, because before that I haven't done any other projects in Vue.js, so I literally want to learn how Vue.js works. So I choose Vue.js for the learning purpose, and it really has shown great things, because I could have choose React or any other frameworks, but choosing Vue.js has really simplified the development process. Really minified the time consuming creating a lot of modules, a lot of components. So the learning process is one of the best thing that you could come up with, contributing to an open source project.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So you, as the founder, not just the maintainer of Hoppscotch, but the founder and maintainer of Hoppscotch, didn't know how to write the main language Hoppscotch was written in until you started building Hoppscotch.
Sorry, I didn't get the last part.
So you, as the founder and maintainer of Hoppscotch, didn't even know how to write Vue.js, which is the main language Hoppscotch is written in, until you started developing Hoppscotch.
I never knew Vue.js until I started Hoppscotch. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So anyone who is here in the chat or listening into the video, if you want to learn a language, being part of the open source community is one way to do it. So as Liyas has said, and it's not just you, but the other developers on the team as well, are happy to help people with their feature requests and to get you up to speed in actually learning that language, which I think is really cool. So that's what I love about the open source community. Now, in terms of like feature requests and things like that, usually it's on the person requesting the feature to make sure it's not already a feature that already exists. But roughly how many features would you be like shipping or implementing, say, every month?
For every month, we might actually ship around 4 features, but that varies. Maybe we could uh, ship 2 or 3 features in a week, or maybe we go to an ideal mode, or spend few times around refactoring, writing tests and all. So in terms of shipping features, yeah, less than 5, I think, in a month.
So you're pretty
But we do
active,
also,
basically, is what I'm getting at,
yeah,
right? Like it's a
yeah,
pretty
yes, yes.
active community, and as we've said, like there are plenty of open issues as well. And if anyone wants to get involved, it's like pretty cool. And we've got some people in the chat too resonating with your thoughts and sentiments. And Maxi Chrome saying the founder of the company they're part of didn't even know code until they started developing their product as well. And that's what I love about coding is so many people just have not even written any code in that language before they start, or some people haven't even written any code at all when they start building a product. So that's a really good segue into our next thing that I wanted to chat to you about, which is how did you get involved in coding and as a developer first? Let's chat about that.
Okay, so during higher secondary education, after completing higher secondary education, I literally had to post my studies for 1 year due to my financial backgrounds and all. So during that period of time, I literally spent 365 days inside my home, uh, doing projects, studying a couple of languages, including JavaScript, and again iterating on my projects, making it to a side projects or tiny projects as well. So the reason why I really got into development is because I found writing code or making products, being a creator is one of the best thing that you can do to improve your career, improve your personality, improve your skills. So during that period, 1 year period of time, I really spent literally days and nights learning to code and making projects, creating a lot of awesome stuffs. So that's how I came into the industry. And the reason why I did that is, I have been following a lot of great personalities in Twitter and a lot of other social networking sites, and I found they are contributing to the uh, actual world, literally doing some cool projects. So I really dreamt of being there, being in that height. So
What
that's
was
the
one
reason
of the
why I
coolest
came into
projects
the
that you kind of
development.
saw that like really said, I want to be able to be a developer because that project's cool and I want to be able to write and build cool things like that?
Actually, that project is actually, it's a work in progress because I'm really working on it. Apart from Hoppscotch, I do have another project which is in like a testing stage. That's one of the best project I have ever done, and till now I would say Hoppscotch is the best project that I have contributed to. And before starting Hoppscotch, actually, I was previously at ByMeCoffee, and ByMeCoffee is a creators platform. I really spend a lot of time there. It's just great to meet a lot of creators from around the world and talk about their difficulties, how they are making
Is that
their
this one? Buy
projects.
me a
How
coffee, simple way to fund your creative work. Buymeacoffee.com. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's
There
it.
we go.
It's a YC company. So I was a previous employee there before starting Hoppscotch. So that was also one of the great projects that I have worked with.
Very, very cool. This is actually really nice, like UI and
Yeah.
layout and everything. This is kind of cool. So, what? Tell me a little bit about Buy Me a Coffee. Then we won't dive too much into it, but it looks like it's you're putting a
That,
whole lot of things together to. Is it to gain like funds for a project you're working on or things like that, or?
well, as I mentioned earlier, after graduation, I joined in a startup near my locality, and after 5 months, I got this job offer from ByMeCoffee. Their founders, Jijo and Joseph, are they are great persons. They have great personality. They hired me, and I spent about 1 year in ByMeCoffee building a lot of features, refactoring a lot of portions of ByMeCoffee. Really contributing to the creator economy. So, yeah, ByMeCoffee it's a creators platform where creators can accept one-time and recurring donation support from their supporters. Uh,
Yeah,
Simply,
it's
put it
really
like
cool. I quite like this. I'm gonna have a look a little bit more into it. Now you mentioned a fair bit about your kind of journey into being a developer. Can you talk a little bit about your journey into open source and why you started A, contributing to open source projects, and then B, why you did mention right at the start that you wanted to open source Hoppscotch. So we'll talk about that, but start off with how you got into open source and why.
got it. So after my graduation, I have been making a lot of projects personally, and most of them were like tiny tools that would allow me to ease up my workflow, ease up my development, a lot of things as well. So, most of the resources that I found online were open source. So, after consuming that, I really felt I should be giving something back to the community as well. And that's the reason why I started contributing to open source project. I literally open sourced all of my side projects in my GitHub account, and looking back, it's been one of the best thing that I have done, because I started getting a lot of comments from the community, whether I should improve, where I should concentrate more, where I should be focusing a lot. And so, yeah, that's how I really came into the open source community. And I have been working a lot of projects and hackathons, those kind of stuffs, and also they being ended up in open source projects. So yeah, one of the things that attracted me to open source projects are also hackathons, as well as Festivalfest as Oktoberfest. Yeah.
Love hackathons. If anyone doesn't know a little bit about my background, I'm called the hackathon queen, and I've done
Uh-huh.
over 100 hackathons now. I'm pretty sure. Like I kind of lost count after a while, but I love the concept of hackathons. I love people coming together to solve problems, to build things, to learn from one another. It's just really cool. And I think you summed it up really succinctly there, where you said like, you're working on all these like projects, and you were using all this stuff, and you wanted to give back. And I think that's like that key about the open source community, which I love, absolutely love. And so you mentioned that you've open sourced all of your projects, which is awesome. Why specifically did you want to open source Hoppscotch, or was it just I just want to open source it because that's what you've done for every other project?
Well, Hoppscotch started as a personal tool for myself, and just after open sourcing it, I found there are a lot of others who were in my current position. So the reason why I open sourced the project is because it was like a habit for me to open source every project that I make. And after open sourcing the project, after getting the traction, it really helped me, because I started getting comments on uh, future requests, bugs, and a lot of other things, which really helped me to move forward, being the author of the project. So yeah, that's the reason why I open source Hoppscotch.
So if we look at your GitHub profile, I'm also curious where this cartoon idea comes from. If we have a look at your README profile, you've got all these little images across the top and your avatar. I'm curious to find out where that came from.
You're talking about my avatar in GitHub, right?
Yeah, your avatar on GitHub and what's across the top on your README profile as well.
Okay. Basically, that's a avatar from OpenPeeps. It's also an open image collection library. You could have easily find from internet. OpenPeeps.
So was it called Open?
Sorry, I didn't get the last one.
What was it called? Open Viz, was it? Or Open...
Open Peeps. I will...
Let's see how to spell that. I'm not very good at all my spelling. Oh, Open Peeps. Like people. I love that word. Open Peeps. There we go. Hand-drawn illustration library. Wow, this is really cool. There you go. I'm going to drop it in the chat for you. Oh, Maxi Chrome likes it. Oh, wow. That's really cool. Oh, I like that. And you can use it with a whole bunch of really cool tools, which is, you know, if you have a look down there, most of you have seen those. Figma, Adobe XD, and more. So that's really cool. I also noticed you are definitely a fan of cartoons, because I noticed in your Hoppscotch on your landing page, I think it's the GraphQL. Yeah, the example URL is Rick and Morty API. So I'm assuming you're a bit of a cartoon buff, right?
I really love, and I just fell in love with emojis and avatars. So that's quite obvious. Yeah.
I like it. I really like it, which is where you get all these really cool animations and things from as well. Now, we slightly went off track, but that's fine. I like going off track in these conversations. It means we're having a great conversation. So we have a look at your GitHub profile, and we have a look at your pinned, like your pinned project. Obviously, you've got Hoppscotch there. Some of the other ones, these are all yours, are they? Markdown, color book, books, banner, website. These are all yours, are they?
Yes, those were my started as a personal project, and right now being actually maintained by the community. Yeah, that's all my projects. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I'm looking at the README profile for Markdown, so with the C. Built with love by you and your contributors, and you've obviously got a thing for unicorns as well. I think this is hilarious. Some of your unicorn emojis, but yeah, Markdown, viewer and editor, and yeah, as you said, now the community is maintaining this. I love the README profiles, also the README files. So don't forget, everyone, README profiles are really, really helpful for people. So that is amazing, and I've just checked out your contribution graph. You've barely missed a day of contributing. I think I can probably count the number of blank squares on my two hands. I wonder if anyone else in the chat has a contribution graph quite like that. Wow, that's very, very impressive.
It's all part of improving myself. So I really love contributing to open source projects. Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to have a chat about next. Is you love contributing to this stuff. You're clearly passionate about it. You've got a lot of projects. You built up a community around. You've got this beautiful contribution graph here. What are your tips to people who want to get involved? They want to be as amazing as you are at developing. They might have a gap year. They might be thinking about open source. They might be thinking about starting a project. What are your tips to those kind of people?
Got it. So, just after getting into the industry, the initial periods were always tough. It's quite tougher than that you might have already have realized, because at initial times, my projects were getting literally zero amount of traction, and you have to intentionally promote your projects, whether it's your social networking site or your peer groups or the platform where you blog. Somehow you have to make a little promotion from your side to get the initial traction. And being a total newbie, what you have to always do is always document the stuff that you are going through, whether it's learning a particular language or a framework, or a tricky bug that you came across, how you fixed it. I would say always document your journey. And if you could also start writing blogs. It doesn't have to be rocket science, but just start somewhere and keep on going. I would say the essential part of being an open source project is the consistency. Don't stop after one or two projects. Keep on doing projects. Keep on contributing.
And I think
always.
I think that's why you've got 3,485 or 58 contributions, right? Like, because you just haven't stopped.
Yeah, I never stop. I have been failed a lot of times. I have been ignored a lot of times, but I haven't stopped yet, and I won't stop anymore. Yeah.
Not stopping anytime soon. Now, we've had a few questions previous weeks, and I know people are probably thinking it in their head anyway. What are some of the kind of platforms that you can promote? You mentioned socials, you mentioned a blog. What are there specific platforms that you think people should be promoting their work on?
Got it. So, you know, being a developer, I can really give you a lot of speech around this particular topic. But I would say is, find out where your target audience would hang out. For example, Hoppscotch it's a developer tool. So I literally spend a lot of time finding out where my audience will be hanging out. And being a developer tool, I found a lot of communities such as subreddits on Reddit, platform where developers would hang out, such as blogging platforms such as dev.to, Hashnot. So basically, you just have to do one thing. It is to find out where your audience would hang out, and just shamelessly promote your project. Just say, I just made this project. You wanna check out it. These are the features. This is an alternative of this particular project. This have a lot of other features than the existing one. Just document what you have done and promote it. That's it. Find out where your peers, where your audience are hanging out, and just say what you have done. Yeah, that's it.
I love that shameless self promotion. You've obviously done a fair bit of it, and if we've found that Dev 2 post.
Yeah.
So, Dev 2 I think is a great platform, right? You would recommend that for developers?
Yes, of course, I would recommend Dev.to because while starting in Dev.to, I literally had around 10 followers or something like that. And after 1 year, documenting the progress of Hoppscotch and my other projects, it's around 11,000 followers in Dev.to.
Whoa, that's insane. We actually just started writing on Dev 2 as well. So all these Open Source Friday clip snippets, things like that, little tidbits, they're all on Dev 2 as well. So make sure you go and
Great.
check those out, people. And if we have a look, you've got some really cool little stickers and badges. I want the Hacktoberfest badge. I wonder if I can somehow get that onto my profile. I only just started a Dev 2 profile this year, so I don't have any of the previous year's Hacktoberfest labels, even though I've been in it before. But yeah, it's really amazing community. I find people are really happy to comment on posts, and I think as you mentioned, like consistency is the key, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, nice. And what's it like? We're coming towards the end of this, but what's it like building up a community? Now you've mentioned that you've got a Discord server. Is that something that you go and promote shamelessly as well to build that Discord community so you can then promote to that community, or how does that usually work?
Actually, not. Building the community is actually another side of uh, being a developer or a creator, because if you have done a project, there should be an audience, right? And the community is not just an audience, but also the part of your family. For example, every community members in Hoppscotch are may not be the actual users of Hoppscotch. They are people who love the idea, the philosophy behind Hoppscotch. We have lot of ways to move forward, but still the community members really give their maximum to support the project. They give their suggestions. They give how to improve the projects. They actively report bugs and all. So apart from being the user of the particular project, community is something or group of people, those who love the idea behind that project, and whether it's making an open source tool for API testing or literally contributing to open source project as a whole. It's the community is a family. It's a group of guys. Those are well wishers of your project. That's it.
I like
And
that.
that's not something that I really used to promote. I promote where developers hang out, and I use community to get the inspiration. Those who support the philosophy behind that project.
So you use all the tools to promote and build that tool, and then you use your Discord community is like kind of like your family Facebook chat, if you will, where you're like all where you all
Yes.
yeah, exactly, you all, you know, build one another up, you support one another, and I think that's really, really cool. Now, as we come to the end of our Open Source Friday chat with you, you've obviously done a lot of work with Hoppscotch, and you have a lot of projects now that you've got that are open source, and you've given us some top tips for contributors. Do you have any top tips for maintainers that are building project? Maybe not just because obviously you've talked about shamelessly promoting your work, but other top tips for maintainers around, you know, starting the
Yeah.
project or anything like top tips for maintainers basically.
Okay. So basically, consistency is the essential thing that you have to keep in mind of. And apart from that, you shouldn't be ashamed of asking for help, because for everyone who's starting as a newbie, it's quite natural to ask for help. And sometimes even me were ashamed to ask for help, because I of thinking what others might think of me. So that's one thing that you have to really get rid of. Start asking for help, whether it's in Stack Overflow or your blogging platform, or personally in Twitter or any other place you can find help from. So that's one thing. And yeah, I would say open source or contributing to open source projects is one of the best ways to get to know about the people around your life. Being an open source, being a developer, it's quite obvious that you don't have a lot of time to spend with other communities. But contributing to a community driven project helps you to grow as as personally, and in the workflow as well. So really helps to improve your personality, improve your career, and a lot of other things that came up with open source projects. So do contribute to open source project, be consistent, and ask for help.
I like that. It's character building, right?
Yeah, character building, that's exactly where. Yeah.
Now you did mention, you know, that you are on Twitter. So where else can we find you? I'll link your Twitter into the chat for everyone. But where else can people find you if they want to follow more about your journey or more
Okay,
about Hoppscotch?
cool. I'm actually very active in Twitter. You can find me at Liyas Thomas in Twitter, and also I'm pretty much active in LinkedIn as well. And I run blogs on multiple platforms such as Hashnode and Dev.to. But if you wanna just spin up a chat with me, just come to Twitter. I will be online there. Yeah.
Nice, and I've also linked your Discord in the chat as well. So if you want to be
Yeah, sure.
part of that
Yeah.
too, totally feel free,
Great.
people. You know, you sound, obviously you've been, you know, an amazing person to talk to here, and you've given us so much insight around, again, as a maintainer, whether you're building a project, to just shamelessly promote your work every way you can, essentially. And you've given so many top tips for people coming to open source, to give back to the community, to, you know, character building, as you said, to find their people, to learn to code. And I think, as you mentioned, you know, to really build up your audience and your network around you is, you know, one of the most amazing things about open source. And that whole not knowing how to code, or not maybe not even being a developer, is, you know, there's people like you and, you know, the rest of the core team around, for, you know, at least from Hoppscotch, and we've heard from previous Open Source Friday weeks that there are so many people like you around who are just willing to help people out, to learn the language, to be part of the project. So you know, we want to thank you so much for having you on here today.
Thank you. Thanks for the
Are there
thanks for the
any
opportunity.
last minute thoughts you'd like to say out to the community? We've got a few people in the chat saying, you know, that they're loving everything that are coming, you know, from this conversation. So is there any last minute things you'd like to say out to the community?
Uh,
Have an awesome Friday.
okay.
Well, thank you again for being here today. We've got some great people in the chat who also commented on your beautiful documentation that you've got on Hoppscotch and other nice projects, and saying it's so nice to see Open Source Friday project. So again, thanks for being here. Thanks for being on the Open Source Friday chat, and we hope you have a wonderful Friday in India.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. So that's it for our Open Source Friday stream today. I hope you all enjoyed it. Such an amazing founder and maintainer and developer to chat to. As we mentioned, like his top tips around just getting involved and just being part of it is just so valuable. We've heard so many weeks now from Open Source Friday that pretty much if you just want to be involved, you just got to go for it and you've just got to do it. And I think that's what, people got to get over that, as Miss Love said last week, that fear factor, and just, pick something you want to do and just run for it. Take it with both hands and run for it. And there are people like, Liyas here, there are people like, Paul from Superbase that we had a few weeks ago that are just here to help. So I really encourage all of you to get involved in open source. Don't forget, it's Hacktoberfest as well. Hoppscotch is an opt-in project for Hacktoberfest that you can be a part of. So I really encourage you to get out and be involved in open source, especially during this time of Hacktoberfest, and, just start building your network, character build and things like that. So, and if you've got a project, feel free to go and shamelessly promote it everywhere. DevTour is a great place to promote things. Facebook, LinkedIn has become, depending on where you are in the world, is becoming a great platform to promote yourself. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone so much for being here this lovely, whatever daytime it is in your time zone. So it's now late Friday afternoon for Australians. It's moving into Indian morning. It is super late or early in the Thursday evening, depending on what you want to call either, Thursday midnight or super duper early Friday morning for our Americans over there. 41 Hertz says, cheers, my pleasure, 41 Hertz. And Maxichrome, I love your comments, Maxichrome. Just beautiful open source project. Chubby Freak, thank you so much for all your questions. We had the real Cherokee there as well saying, just love seeing super useful applications. I love having all of you in the chat and being amazing and all your feedback, and you're all just such lovely people, and thanks for showing up. So as I mentioned before, I mentioned last week, mentioned again this week, don't forget to join our GitHub virtual meetup group. So we post all our Open Source Friday streams there on the virtual GitHub meetup group. Obviously, we post them on Twitter as well, but we will be back same time, same place next week. We will be chatting to one of the guys from React, which is going to be awesome. Ice Cream Tango. Ice cream. That was one thing we were going to ask Liyas about, is on his Dev 2 post, it says, I am flying and eating ice creams with JavaScript. I quite love that, and I totally want to go get some ice cream now. So same time, same place for me with APAC time zone and, React.js. And then we also have the American time zone stuff happening as well. So we've got the open source docs is happening for the Americans, and that happens in about, I'm not very good at time zones right now, but your American morning, if you'd like to, if those Americans who are here going, wow, it's really late, I need to go to bed, feel free to get up early and join in. B. Dougie, my colleague, and Janice from the open source, the newly open source GitHub docs. You love the t-shirt? Yeah, the t-shirts are really cool. Thanks, Dave Loop. If you'd like some of your own GitHub swag, don't forget you can always go to our shop and get your own GitHub swag. So let me grab a link for you, but you can also always grab your GitHub swag from our Shopify, which most people don't even know that we even have. So there's a Shopify link there for your GitHub swag. This one is a limited edition. It's not on the shop yet. Something may be coming, so keep an eye out. Thank you for dropping in, Dave Loop, and we'll see you all again next time. Thanks so much again for tuning in. Hope you have a lovely afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. I'm pretty sure the whole world is in Friday now. So lovely Friday to you all, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.